Recording in progress.
Yeah, we're live.
I get turned on.
Yeah,
I get turned on by the robot voice. It just said recording in progress. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, hello. Nice to meet you. Hi."
I used to say it pissed me off, but it was just misguided sexual attraction.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Now when you boot up any Xbox game, it has the accessibility stuff on by default, so it starts screaming at you the menu until you race to turn it off.
Frank, how do you feel about the TikTok voice, the TikTok female?
I love it.
Hello, welcome to the podcast. Cops.
I love it. I'm in.
POV, you are on a podcast.
Yeah.
My God. She has her own TikTok channel now where it's just her talking and she talks in that voice and it's very weird.
Wait, the real lady, the voice actress behind it?
The real lady, I didn't know, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, what's her name? Oh, I gotta find it.
I don't remember.
All good.
I don't follow her or anything, but every once in a while, like, she pops up and then she just talks like that, and I'm like, oh, that's her.
Fuck, dude. Her name is Kat Callahan. Holy shit. Okay, this has already proved to be valuable. I'm so happy I learned. This is awesome. This is fucking amazing.
That sounds kind of familiar. I don't know.
Kat Callahan.
Yeah.
Kat Callahan. Voice of Kat.
Kat Callahan.
TikTok. Whoa, Grant. That's fucking impressive.
We do this all the time. We just do the
That's
Smash
really
Bros
good.
voice.
We'll
be playing Smash Bros and we'll just be making up ridiculous characters.
Yes.
Peter Griffin is a classic one.
The voice is perfect. Now, oh my God. I'm following this TikTok cat girl. She has a cameo
voice
too.
of Cat. Only 700,000 followers. I feel
Gotta
like it
boost
should be
him.
more.
That's bullshit, man. After all she's done for the platform,
right?
That's it.
We're all using her voice.
Oh my God. I should have more followers.
She will live on forever. Anyway, I'm going to introduce the show now. Welcome to Thought Cops, coming to you live from the mean streets of Neo Chicago. I am Officer Kevin.
I'm Officer Grant.
How's it going, Grant?
It doesn't matter.
Awesome.
I love it.
Thanks for that wonderful energy, Grant. Thank you for being so easy to deal with every single week.
I try to tell you, it doesn't matter. Each time, just blow past it. Nobody cares how I'm doing.
People love formalities, Grant.
I hate them. Formalities are the bane of my existence.
Grant, maybe this upsets you to hear, but
Listen, this is my character.
Other people want to know how you're doing. When they hear me say, how's it going, Grant, they are sitting on pins and needles waiting for an answer.
They're like, oh, who's on the show this week?
That is a good question, and I have an answer. We have Frank Howley tonight. How's it going, Frank?
I want to know how's it going with Grant. I still got to get, you can't, how's Grant doing?
Neutral. Yeah. I'm the same all the time. It's just constantly gray.
Hey, Grant,
I can't believe how beautiful Grant's voice is. Grant has such a good voice. I'm all in.
Thank you.
Grant, you want to know something that bothers me?
By all means, go ahead.
I always ask you how you're doing, and you never say, and how are you?
Is that all you want? If I ask that, will you stop asking me how I'm doing?
I mean, it would be a nice practice.
This is like a very I hate to make this comparison because you make this comparison, it's shooting yourself in the foot, it's shooting yourself in the head. But this is like the most Seinfeldian aspect of the show is at the beginning. How are you? I don't know if I want to ask him how I'm doing. What does it matter how I'm doing?
Yeah, it's very late.
Well, how are you doing? Oh, that's just what we just
stop
get
and
in
ask
a
how
room.
you doing. Well, who cares?
Yeah.
It's like if freaking Abbott and Costello had a podcast. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Abbott and Seinfeld.
Well, Frank, we are happy to have you here tonight. How are you? I will ask you, and maybe you'll give me a more robust answer.
We want that information.
I'm very good. I've been reflecting. Like I hit this point like a week ago, but I feel like my mental health is finally the best it's been since before COVID. I've also it took a lot obviously to get here.
Do you think you're better than us?
Grant, I don't have a better voice. No, I'm just saying it's possible. I was the last like hurdle was I shifted some career focused stuff. I'm starting to like leave one job I'm now making going to the gym like the first thing I do in the morning. And like, I don't know, I feel like just shifting different things. And now I feel really good. Also, I guess weight is the lowest it's been since before COVID. So it's like, I feel like I'm not returning to center, but finding a new center that is like, I don't know, that I feel really good. So truly. So that's why, yeah, even when you guys reached out, I was like, yeah, fuck it. I mean, honestly, no better time. But
hell yeah.
Nice. I feel good. And there's a lot of days where it's hard to be like, I'm okay. You know, like, but now I'm like, no, I'm really good. I'm feeling myself. I'm in love with myself again. Yeah.
It can be hard sometimes to admit when you're good. Like sometimes I'm like, if somebody, and maybe this is why so difficult.
I don't want people to know, like, here's the thing. If things are bad, I'm happy because then I can complain. I get pity. Sure. Pity's fantastic. But when things are good, it's like I'm uncomfortable. I don't want people seeing me smile. You know, it's weird. It's uncomfortable. I don't like it. I'm starting to acclimate to feeling okay, but my thing is when everything is good, I get this James Cameron thing where it's like, okay, the apocalypse is coming. Mark Maron expresses it too, but it's like, what's the fucking trick? The sky's gonna fall. Like, because I've had that a lot where things are going very well and then COVID starts. I remember February.
Yup.
February 2020, I was in this. Maybe I just always feel good in February. February 2020, I was in the shower and I had a shower thought that's like, man, I'm really comfortable. I'm ready for like a big life shift. And then like a month or two after that thought, COVID happened. It was like, oh no,
monkey paw.
So yeah, I kind of fucked myself there.
So again, this is all your fault, Frank. Basically,
it's true. But I regret nothing. 2020, February 2023, I feel really good. So will I fuck up my taxes? Maybe that's something that's like the number.
Yeah, well, that's great, man. That's great to hear. Yeah, I saw you posting on Twitter, because you were saying like you felt as if your weight was like fluctuating throughout the pandemic.
Yeah,
because I've had the same issue too. Like, as I feel like again, like 2020, the beginning of 2020 for me, I was probably in the best shape of my whole life, and then it since then I've kind of like yo-yoed back and forth, and I'm like more strict about or trying to be more strict about like keeping to, a regular exercise regimen, keeping to like eating right, things like that. And it's like, I feel also better mentally when I have like, I feel like I just feel better when I have like it's like something else to focus on also. Like it keeps your mind busy too.
Yes. Yeah. I totally feel you. Yeah. Grant, I want to know.
Yeah, I also, first thing in the morning, I go to the gym, but I'm not happy because that's where I work, and I have to wake up at 5, so another thing for me to complain about. Look how difficult Grant is.
Don't shit where you eat.
Are you guys both in Chicago?
Where you don't eat where you shit either.
I really want to go to Chicago at some point in my life. Who knows? Maybe even this year. Yeah. So now if I go to Chicago, now I have homies there. I'm fucking all in. I really
Frank,
want to go.
We'll have you back on the show in person. Sure. It'll be a great time. The only reason I'm not in because like if we have like someone local, we'll do like an in-person recording. But if it's like this, it's like I'm not going to go out there. It's snowing. It's cold. It sucks. That's the one thing. Yeah,
it's snowing and it's raining.
Wait a couple months if you decide to, Frank, because now it's like
when's does it get fucked up and hot? Like New York kind of sucks in the summer because it's so humid and gross. What's like the peak time to go to Chicago or peak times to avoid? Obviously winter. What to avoid? Like,
for me, I would say like May.
Yeah.
Yeah, May, June, before it gets like sweltery. It gets sweltery in Chicago.
Nasty. Okay.
July, August, not good. I mean, it's fine. I'm fine with it, but some people.
Or I would say October. Like I feel like a fall in Chicago is like really amazing.
I like it.
Nice and crisp, Yeah.
No,
refreshing. Frank, I want to talk to you because you are a busy man. You are streaming over at Big Dogs Gaming with a former guest of the show, Brian Abu Chakra. How's that going?
It's great. I stream 4 times a week. Brian also does his own stream too with KLBR.
Yeah.
So collectively, there's only one day where there's not a Big Dog stream, and that's Saturdays. But no, it's crazy. Like we got banned on Twitch a month ago because I showed hentai and dildos for an hour, and it panicked me. But then we came back and we had more subscribers than ever. So the game is true. If you get banned on Twitch, it's actually a good thing. And also, I got to take 3 days off, which was kind of cool. But
okay, note for this, Zwick, when you're editing this later on, if you could just put like a hentai and dildo filter over the entire episode.
Don't tell Zwick to do that because he will do it.
Also, thank you very much, Zwick, for listening. and editing.
Yeah, thank you for all
dealing
you
with
do.
my peaks.
Sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Because he'll just go into like the folder that's on his desktop and he'll just drag from that. He's got those already ready at the ready. He's got them.
Yeah, he's got like a shortcut for those, a keyboard shortcut. But yeah, for those of you listening, if you want to know a little bit about Big Dogs Gaming, Frank, take it away. Tell us what it's all about.
Yeah, no, it's our, I don't know what the fuck you'd call it. It's just our Twitch community, our Twitch network. Like Brian and I got my start through Twitch streaming because of Mega 64. They had hired me to do like a video game stream, and I kind of I got addicted to it. I was like, oh fuck, this rules. So then Brian and I were like, well, let's just do more of this. So we started a channel, and I started in Brian's apartment back when I was living down in San Diego, and it started out like once a week, and then twice a week, and then the pandemic hit. And I lost a teaching contract because everything was shifted. And I was like, well, fuck, I have more free time than ever. Yeah. Let's do this more often. And then people supported us. So it kind of never stopped. But I feel like I'm at the peak now where I'm like, because there's like a dangerous slide with like any kind of job where it's like you're your own boss. So it's like how I could do this every day or whatever. But I landed on doing 4 days a week. And I think that's, again, it's taken 4 years to land on something I feel good with. But like, it's a good balance between being very accessible and always online, but also like having days to take care of other jobs and mental health. So 4 days a week is pretty good. But then I like that because we've empowered so many of our own friends to stream and we're always like rating each other, that like the spirit is always there. But no, it's just, I would classify myself as a variety streamer. Cause like through a single Twitch stream, maybe it'd be 6 hours. Like we'll probably play through like 3 or 4 video games, spend an hour going through YouTube videos, anime videos. Now we go through TikTok lives. We're dancing, we're doing freestyle, we're playing guitar. Like it's like, I don't know, the core idea of it is just, it's hanging out with friends, but being extremely sincere, but also having fun. And like, I don't know, it's hard to pin it down, but it's just how I have fun and I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it could be really hard to fit that in because, like, yeah, same for us when the pandemic hit. We were streaming on our channel a lot more. I know currently right now, our editor Zwick has been streaming on the Thought Cops Twitch quite a bit recently. Yeah. So he's kind of taking the reins for us. But it's like, yeah, thanks. Thanks for keeping the channel warm.
Yeah.
But it could be hard to like balance all that stuff, man. Like, because you said like you got a lot of coals in the fire, basically, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, that's part of that James Cameron anxiety is like, you never know like when you're going to be like laid off or what like job economies are going to shift. So it's like currently I have essentially like 3 jobs. One is like the Twitch gig. One is through NoClip. And then the other is for 7-8 years, I've worked as like a, I guess I would just call it like media arts education. I help run this program that does high school documentary filmmaking. And the class is in San Diego. So now that I moved away from San Diego, it's like, oh, I'm ready to like retire from that. So like,
where do you live now?
Now I'm back in Orange County. So which I born and raised. So even then San Diego was only like an hour away, but like I'm done with commuting. I just can't do that shit anymore. But now it's like 3 jobs, but it's like I'm trying to cut out the teaching thing. That way I can just focus on Twitch and NoClip and just like solely be a, I don't know, like video game journalist is one way, but there's also like, I don't know, not personality, but broadcaster, game journalist, gamer, whatever the fuck I am. Yeah. And like even influencer is a weird word because it's like, I kind of detest.
It's a terrible word.
I detest marketing, even though I love it. Like, so like, I'm not interested in, I mean, again, I will, if we always say on air, if Big Tobacco wants to sponsor us, let's fucking, please. Yes. I have no scruples. I'm all
hit my line. But,
yeah, right? Like, what the fuck? That's easy money, I feel like. I don't know. Yeah, no,
I feel like I'd take it, but I would also sort of be like winking in Morse code of like, you know.
Yeah.
Like actually don't, sort of, you know.
Sure. I feel like people, I don't know, people like what they like, and I feel like no one is going to be swayed by someone being like, hey guys, try this. It's like, if it's cool, people will do it. But hey, maybe we make smoking cool again. Fuck it. Hey, strike one up and tell me how it feels.
I don't know, because I was never into that the Harry Potter books, but now that I learned that they're not woke, I'm
what the hell?
Playing that game all the time. I'm so easily influenced by people.
I spent the last 30 years calling them fucking nerd shit.
Yeah.
Pussy ass books.
Yeah, but now that
I like them.
Anti-woke. Yeah, now we both like them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like with that, like I grew up liking them, and then I outgrew them. But then my first girlfriend was obsessed with them, so like I feel like I've like got pulled into the spell twice. And then by the time J.K. Rowling came out with all their shit, it's like it's so easy to divorce. Where it's like I don't give a shit about this. Who cares? But now like there's a game. It's like is the game good? How is it? I don't know. I've heard it's good. I'm on my like ethics with it lined up where it's like I don't want to pay full price for it. I don't necessarily want to buy it. But if I got a used copy, hey, I feel like that's a guilt-free way of playing that game. Is but getting a used
That's basically
copy.
like that's what I hear everybody say. Like, if a copy just happened to fall in my lap and my eyes were closed, I might pop it in my PlayStation.
Hey, and here's the thing too. I said this last episode, but Target will only prosecute you when you've stolen enough for it to be considered a felony. So if you don't steal that much, you can get away with stealing just one video game. And they'll let you. You just walk out the door, you go, hey, I'm taking this.
Yeah, then
what are you gonna do
J.K.
about
Rowling doesn't get any blood money. Then my friend got Diablo 3 that way. Is he just opened up the box, took the CD and the key and ran out. So fuck yeah, dude.
I would never do that, but that is incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is considered a felony actually? Like, is it what, 2 games? Like, you can have one.
No, it's like a certain monetary threshold. It's like if it's like a couple $1,000.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's not so bad.
Yeah, they budget that shit into, they have it.
They also have they have state of the art like facial recognition software. So every time you walk into a Target, they know that you're there, and if you like put something in your pocket, they know that something is in your pocket, and they just go. Like they get a little tracker and they go, this guy right here, he's stolen $100. Wait until he's stolen 200. We're gonna get him.
It's like not Yakuza, Cyberpunk leveling up your street cred. It's like, hell, okay, this guy's a bad boy. His heat's going up. You only go after the big bounties. You don't go after the fucking low level. You wait to see where they go, and then it's like The Wire. You're staking them out.
Right, exactly.
Now, Frank, you mentioned working with Mega 64, and I want to bring up Flame War Theater.
Yeah.
You were the one helming that, if I'm correct.
Yes. Yeah. When I form it, like I was always like hanging out with Mega 64 and working with them, and like it honestly felt like an internship, and I'm very grateful for everything I learned from there and the connections.
Yeah.
When I moved to San Diego, and I was already like doing like, because what happened was I was teaching in San Diego, so I would go down to San Diego, teach this class, and then after I would text Rocco or whoever and be like, hey, you guys around? I'd come over to the warehouse and then just hang out, usually just get burritos, but then sometimes they'd be working on videos and I would get to hang out, and then sometimes I would get to pitch jokes or be in the videos. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Once they got their Patreon, they had more funding coming in, and they're like, well, hey, if you want to come over and help us edit this thing, we'll start paying you. I was like, yes. And then once I finally moved to San Diego, I was like, hey, I'm here now. Do we want to like do this for real? What's going on? And so they proposed like, okay, like we're going to hire you, do this Twitch stream, and then see if you can come up with like a YouTube format. So I pitched like 3 shows. Flame War Theater was the one that like stuck. We made 1 episode. It was the GameCube Sucks one. It worked. And then it was like, cool, let's just do another. And so I got to do like 12 episodes back to back to back to back in like one summer. And like, I was very, very proud of that. So that
those are fucking awesome, man. I love those because like as somebody who was like active on internet forums in the early 2000s, it's like instantly recognizable.
Right.
The people, the phrasing. It's just like, it's like a time machine back to this period of like something we don't often think about, but just like seeing the people arguing about the most inane bullshit, even going back to like, there was one from like 1996, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is crazy.
So one thing I learned in the process of doing that is like every Sunday I would spend all night on like Newgrounds or GameFAQs or whatever. And eventually a few people were able to email us topics in, but like I would just spend hours combing through message boards until usually if the topic title was funny or like baiting, it was like, okay, this is probably good. Like any game, like anything sucks is like you're that's easy. Or you could search terms. Eventually we found out through I could search on Google Groups, which was an archive of every single news group from the 90s. So that became a new level of shit to search for. And like I will still pull stuff up from Google Groups because it's insane seeing message boards from 1994 that are so fucking funny. And like even a month ago, 2 months ago, I was playing Nights into Dreams on Christmas, and I was able to find people arguing about Nights into Dreams versus Nintendo 64 and Mario 64, and like people calling Mario 64 dog shit, but saying that like Nights into Dreams will change gaming forever. And it's like, this is so fucking awesome. And the only reason that kid has that point is because he got Saturn for Christmas and not N64. So it's like, that's how all that console war starts. It's like well, fuck,
exactly,
this is my thing.
Yeah.
I'm going for it.
Did y'all ever do one? I can't remember. I've seen like Kevin would always just like put them on, and I'd be like, "We're watching this," and it was always great. But I can't remember which ones I've seen and which ones I haven't seen. Have y'all made one about the bodybuilding.com? How many days are there in a week?
So that was season 2, which I wasn't involved in, but that one they did do, which was like,
gotcha.
How many days in a week? 5, 6, or 7 days, and it was like, and there was a few like famous
all-time
threads.
favorite threads of all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a wonderful time capsule, and the way that you guys presented it was just perfect. I think like my favorite was like it was the Naruto one. I don't remember the exact thread.
It was called like Naruto haters. Because I went on my anime list, and then Crunchyroll became old anime message boards that ended up being really useful and funny to look through. And like, I still really want to dive in and find more threads because there's just so fucking many. Like even now I'm getting it, like, like a few months ago I was going through One Piece. Now I'm getting into Hamtaro, and like any fandom that existed in the 2000s, you're going to find shit on DeviantArt. You're going to find cosplays. You're going to find message boards. You're going to find fan art. You're going to find AMVs. They're like, I love getting into fandoms because there's the media and then there's the fan expression, and that expression is so fucking pure and funny, and like, I don't know, it's like you see the world through the lens of a Hamtaro fan, or you see the world through the lens of a Naruto fan, and it's like I fucking find that like level of communication and spectrum so beautiful and like genuinely endearing.
There's
I
also
think, like, go ahead.
You go. What I was gonna say is stupid.
Well, same, but I'll go ahead anyway.
Okay, then I'll go after that.
Frank, I feel like you live and breathe these very specific like you said, like 2000s fandoms. Like I think at one point I saw you posting like a lot of like Slipknot and Death Note gifs and like AIM icons, and I'm just like, it like brought me back to such a specific time in my life, and I'm like, oh my god, I feel like this is like unlocking something of like just my away messages, the icons that me and my friends would use to talk to each other and stuff like that. Oh my god. Yeah, it just I think you tap into such a unique sensibility and like memory space for a lot of people. But I also want to ask oh no, go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I guess I was saying that just comes from, it's like, I know what it's like being a teenager. I also like work with teenagers, and I think part of me is always stuck in that headspace of seeing how people express themselves. And it's like, I love like, if you like Slipknot, you're going to make your AIM message Slipknot. You're going to have a Slipknot t-shirt. You're going to have a Slipknot backpack. You're like, you become, that band becomes your identity. Eventually, as you get older, you have multiple things. That's what makes talking to people interesting. But when you're 13, you find like the one thing you identify and you make that your whole brand. It's like so fucking funny. And I think even still, it's still cool doing that. But it's even cooler doing it where it's like, well, if I was 13-year-old getting into Slipknot, let me see. So on like YouTube, I would search like Slipknot PSP theme, like custom Slipknot Xbox. Like I just try I just try to like view the world as a 14-year-old, but like my version of a 14-year-old, which would be like 2003, 2004, 2005, like early Xbox Live, everything. And it's like, I don't know, it's kind of fun just bringing that filter back to, I don't know where the fuck we are now in 2023. It doesn't matter.
Well, it's also interesting because, like, on the show we've talked about like the 20-year nostalgia cycle, but I see a lot of Zoomers now, or like I don't know if they're ironically appreciating it or they're appreciating it like. So I see a lot of younger people wearing like Slipknot t-shirts and merchandise now. I'm like, why is this happening? And then it reminds me of when I was in high school, because I think we're like around the same age, where people would be wearing like Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd stuff, and it was like that was before our time. And then now you have this next generation who's wearing the shit that was new and contemporary back then. And it's like, that alone was enough to like make me have like a system shock, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting old.
Well, no, like with Slipknot, if you think of like a teenager kid discovering Slipknot, like from 1999, like that was genuinely edgy and hard back in 1999. But if you think about like, what are the current bands in their landscape, like Machine Gun Kelly or Thousand Dragons or whatever the fuck they're called, it's like, oh, Slipknot is legitimately fucking cool. But also during pandemic, when everyone was at home, kids and myself included had time to explore all this media and shit like TikTok and Wikipedia and Apple Music and Spotify. it's easier in YouTube. It's easier than ever to get into something because you have access to everything. Whereas like 20 years ago, you'd have to download music videos off of Kazaa. You'd have to find MP3s one at a time. You'd have to go on message boards to find out what are all the fucking songs. Whereas now, like you can become a master of anything by just pulling out your cell phone.
Yeah, I remember like downloading like Slipknot songs like one by one on Kazaa and just being like, I don't know what the album is, but I would just get whatever, and I would just like listen to them in whatever order. I would do that on
LimeWire.
Yeah, LimeWire, Kazaa. I think Napster was a little before when I started using it.
Yes.
Do you sort of think though that like with the ease of information, how quickly everything is at your fingertips, that it creates more of a surface level appreciation of certain things because you can just tap into everything. But like you were talking about, like you make something your whole personality. And it's like when I was like in high school, I was really into like mindless self-indulgence, or I was really into like, you know, whatever. And it's just like these websites aren't around. So you just have to like go through like old message boards and really like dig for stuff. And it's just like, oh, this is a song that just like never came out, or like, is this even the band that's playing this song? Like what, you know, there were so many different things of that, and it's like you really had to search for it. And nowadays it's just like, yeah, you can just go down the TikTok wormhole, and you know, in the evening you're the pro, and it's like you didn't have to work for that. Nobody wants to work anymore. You ever relate to that?
So that's what this all boils down to, Grant.
Yeah, it's kids ruined the economy, I think.
Preach.
I think
I know they're too young to get jobs, but they ruined it.
I mean, I think like having so much shit accessible to you just means I feel like everyone's tastes are more diverse than ever. I think people are interested into getting into weirder shit than ever before. There's always going to be the gap between the people who don't want to do the work versus the people actually ripping old Slipknot DVDs, putting those concert footages online. But then that connects it even closer, or makes it more like global. And then there are like, we talked about influencers earlier, but like instead of like, I don't know, like corporate shills, it's like I genuinely believe in like people being tastemakers for people. Of like, hey, like, you know, that's why like now I'm much more active in tweeting about the comic book industry, because like comics are so fucking crazy and still edgy, and I feel like people don't know that. So that's why I'm like, oh, let me tweet about this fucking BDSM comic that's out there that no one is reading, but everyone should be reading. Like, so I think like if I'm doing the work of fucking reading every single comic coming out every week, I will find the gold, share it, and then that makes people finding it even easier. And that's why message boards back in the day, it's like having older brothers or sisters. Like my brother listened to Beastie Boys as a kid. My brother was the one who got Mortal Kombat 2 for Super Nintendo. So it's like, I feel like that is still there in this present generation with TikTok and things like that. So it's like, I just think it means kids are curious, and kids, if they do want to get deep on something, they will. So maybe I think it also means it's easier to sample shit without like, there's no monetary investment. So it's like, oh, I'm going to try this hat on. Do I like this? Like, let me listen to this music for a day. This isn't my thing. But if it sticks, I think like you don't have to question it. You will naturally start consuming more of it. So I think it just means kids are like,
that's totally true.
Yeah. Like I just did a summer class, you know, this thing, and every kid now is into A24 films, and like that's leading them to the trail of like Paul Thomas Anderson or Tarantino or whatever. And like that was always in vogue when I was in high school, but it's like they're already at that level and aren't afraid to like dive deeper. And so
it's kind of intimidating in a weird way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they have so much more access to things than we did, and they're evolving at a rapid rate.
Horrifying.
Yeah. That's why there's like, that's the degree where it's still nice working with like younger people. It's like they're so fucking sharp. Like kids in high school now are like already like what my college level was. It's like they're so fucking smart, and like
children really are the future.
It's true.
When you think about it.
Yeah, and that's why my like so many people's instinct. I mean, honestly, my first instinct to TikTok was like, "Ew, what the fuck is this?" Now I love it. Now I'm like, "Oh, I get it. This is fucking awesome." Like,
right.
TikTok
I'm still
now is what YouTube was 15 years ago.
I'm still trying to red pill Kevin on TikTok, but he like opens it and he hasn't curated a feed yet, so he just gets
that's
like
what it is. You like, have to dig it, or like you have to engage with the content you like on TikTok. Otherwise, like mute accounts you don't like. Like there would be accounts or people or trends that just gross me out, so I would block the account, and now I don't see it. So it's like now my TikTok algorithm is super like, it's fucking like, it's a lot of like weird third world country stuff. Like it's a lot of weird shit now, but it's because I banned like fucking Hollywood Zoomer kids running around malls asking like, hey, I don't know. So I just block.
See, that's the kind of stuff I see.
Videos. Man.
It sucks ass. Yeah,
that's
like,
what's being shown
here's $10. $10, double it or give it to the next person. Hey, I'll buy you anything in this mall. Is this cap or slap? Ban. Hey, what's your body count? Ban. Now I get a Russian guy doing. Now I get a Russian guy doing Fist of the North Star kicks on his cushion. Like just you get the weirdest shit, but just keep going with it. So and then following
Chinese factory accidents.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
if that's what you want to see, you can find that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grant, I think I'm starting to understand.
Yeah. See, I get Slipknot, WWE, and anime in my feed all the time. Like it's like yes, you have to trust the algorithms.
That does sound pretty tight.
You have to trust the robots.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's also refreshing because we sort of talked about this came up when Sean from Mega 64 was on last time, and he gave his key to the city to skateboarder kids because he would like bring his daughter skating. And like he's like, these kids are like the nicest kids, and they would like help her and show her like tricks and stuff like that. And like I think the both of us sort of related to skateboarding a couple decades prior, where it was just like everyone's an asshole and everyone's like bullying everybody, and it's just like this machoistic sort of whatever. And it really does seem like everyone now, it's like there is this sense of like, because there is this diversity of like just content and wormholes and things that people can identify with and like things that they can be interested in and stuff like that. There doesn't seem to be as much of like in-group, out-group sort of thing. So it's like there's no the cool kids in the same sort of way that there was, where you can just sort of like stereotype people based on like, oh, the football jock or whatever versus the whatever. It's much more like varied and diverse. And I think as a result that hopefully people are like nicer and more accepting and less shitty about like, oh, you like this, you're fucking weird, you're the outcast. I know that like still happens. I just get the overall general sense that like we can't keep that up for forever when there's so much information out there for people to like grapple with constantly, you know?
I mean, I think that that's true, but it's also like a detriment because like obviously everything you're explaining is good, but the fact that we're constantly have so much in our face all the time, it's almost overwhelming, you know?
I don't disagree. I think that there's an evolution that needs to happen. We need bigger brains so we can take it. We need bigger brains and probably another eyeball.
I think and maybe they already do, but I do think there needs to be like, I mean, I feel like this conversation's always happened, but like, I do think mental health and media literacy. I mean, maybe that's already being taught, but I feel like those things really need to be explicitly taught in classes. Like even social media management. Like, I mean, actually, South Park just put up an episode as of this recording last night, which was about satiring like kids having brands for themselves at such a young age, and it's like, but that's extremely true. It's like, yeah, like.
Right.
Kids today, like in the classes I teach with, all of their kids everyone's so obsessed with like their Instagram feeds, and like the feed is so important. And it's like, God, this shit doesn't matter. Like, but again, part of being a teenager is trying on different identities. And when their identity evolves, they delete their old Instagram and move on. But like, I mean, but like, in terms of like mental health, it's like, yeah, that's why I prioritize like going to the gym or letting myself get lost in my shower thoughts or going for hikes, like putting the phone down. And like, I love TikTok, but I can only check it like once every 3 days because it is so overstimulating. But like, I feel like the stuff that was really important, you'll remember the next day, and the shit that doesn't matter, you just forget about. And so that's why like, yeah, I also just don't ever get worked up about shit. Like, I don't know, I don't know. I just like focusing on the stuff I like. And I feel like that attitude is now in vogue. Like there's this movement of just like neo-sincerity where it's like, I like what I like. And if you're shitting on that, like you're the loser. You're not a loser for liking something. You're a loser for hating something. And that's something I feel like kids totally embrace that now.
You're right about that. I just love the term neo-sincerity. I know we haven't done a word of the week in a while, but that is this week's word of the week. Neo-sincerity. Yeah. And Grant, how perfect since we're here in Neo Chicago.
It's both are new.
Yeah. That is what that word means. That is exactly what that means. But Frank, I also want to ask you, so you mentioned you're working with no clip video. Like if you want to like tell us a little bit about that, because I've looked into it a little bit, but I don't know a lot about it.
Yeah, so no clip is It's founded by Danny O'Dwyer, who is associated with Giant Bomb, but it's video game documentaries. And no, I feel very lucky to be involved with it. Right now, there's a team of 4 people: me, Danny O'Dwyer, Jeremy Jane, and Jesse Garasha. And yeah, we have a few YouTube channels. The main one is we do these big video game documentaries where we go to studios, we interview the developers, and it's like the people behind games, who makes the video games, but also breaking down like technical aspects, storytelling aspects, creative aspects, how, like, what are the challenges, like just how to make a giant ass video game. And we're able to cover so many different fucking games, from indies to AAA studios to even like weirder like community like aspects. Like I was able last year able to do a documentary on PAX West. And now I will be able to do one on PAX East coming up. So we have a secondary channel that's called No Clip Crew, which honestly kind of just feels like a Neo Giant Bomb. Like Danny, like Danny is experimenting with it and just upload it. We're doing like Let's Plays now, video essays, like travel logs, whatever. So it's just, I don't know. It's just like our version of video game coverage. And then we also do a podcast, No Clip Podcast, where we talk about the projects we're working on and then games we're playing. So yeah, it's video game documentaries. My job with it is like I help manage the social media. I do the Let's Plays and podcast stuff. But my primary thing is I am an in-game cinematographer. So I am the gameplay director. So right now, let's say a documentary that we have announced is Vampire Survivors. So my job was literally like, okay, play Vampire Survivors for like 12 hours, record all the gameplay, but also like play the game in such specific ways. So say if a developer is talking about a specific weapon, I need to do a run where I just use that weapon and show every version of that weapon. Or like, it's almost like playing games with like achievement lists. Like, oh, we have a shot list. We need you to follow this character during this scene to see how their animation is so we can discuss it.
For sure.
Or in the case, like we did a documentary on the Demon Souls remake. So I had to go side by side, play the PS5 version of Demon Souls, different variety, and then also play the PS3 version. That way, when in our documentary, when the studio's talking about like, you know, remastering the game, we have side by side shot comparisons and things like that. But it's like, I don't know, it kind of feels like an evolution of like what I've always wanted to do, which is like talk about video games in a way that isn't condescending, that doesn't like speak down to the audience. It's just like, it's very legitimately informative. It's cool. It's also like, before No Clip, like there was always like the video game industry works in shadows because development time is so fucking long and there's NDAs and stuff. You don't like, leaks will affect marketing cycles, and the marketing cycles can also damage launch windows if games get delayed. Like the video game industry is so like messy and secretive, but it's kind of cool with No Clip. And now other teams are doing it, but like, oh, we're actually able to talk to people who are working on the games. It's not the marketing team. It's not like the head on stage of E3. It's like the people who are actually making the games. And it's also like insightful if people want to work for these studios, if people want to go to art school to become a 3D modeler or whatever the hell. And totally. It's really, really cool. So even like with Twitch or No Clip, it's like my job literally is like I get to play video games. I get to be earnest about them. I get to like help promote stuff I like. And it's like, again, there's that James Cameron apocalypse thing where it's like, okay, am I going to wake up? Am I going to die? I mean, I will die. But like, what, like, so I just try to be very humble, very grateful.
Frank, you might not.
I know. Well, again, that's why I'm all in on AI TikTok girl. Like I'm like the first one to get like cyber implants. I'm like max rank on my COVID booster. Like inject me with whatever I want. You know, I'm all in.
Do you feel like the recording the game footage and going through that whole process, does that like take the fun out of it for you a little bit? Like, because that's something I've always been interested in, but I'm like the one thing that deters me the most is like having to get all the footage and be like, oh man, that's a lot of work.
No, I am never able to play. I am like very rarely able to afford time to play a game just for fun. I like that. Yeah. I said this today to somebody where it's like it's like selling your soul to the devil. Where it's like I've monetized my hobby of video games. So if I'm playing a video game, it either has to be live on Twitch or recorded for No Clip. And when I'm at the end of the day, like I'll play multiplayer stuff with friends, but like it's like I am just not compelled to play a video game in my free time. So that's why instead I'll try to exercise, see movies, or read comics. Like even teaching film fucking killed like film or filmmaking for me. And now that I'm like stepping away a bit, I'm having joy in editing and making TikToks again. But like, yeah, but again, it's like it's such a minor thing to complain about. So like,
no, that's like
even with Twitch, yeah.
No, that's like something I think about a lot lately. Is like just, you know, so long I'm like working towards like, oh, I would love for this to be my job or that to be my job. And it's just because I love such and such thing. But like lately I've had the thought cross in my mind more of like, when would it stop feeling like a hobby and more like a job? And that's been like this rolling around in my head recently. And it's like interesting to talk to people who are involved in this. Like we had somebody from like Nintendo Life on the show last week, and I was like thinking the same thing too. Like, what is it like when you're sitting down with a product? It's a product you have to like talk about. Like there's even like another YouTube channel I follow where like she reviews like mangas and like she collects them and like shows all the different versions. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of an interesting thing. And then I guess she hadn't uploaded for a while and put up a post where she's like, I have to stop for a while because I stopped enjoying manga because all I could do was like think about this channel, which I like. She's like, which I like doing, by the way, but also like she's constantly thinking of like, how do I turn this into content? And I think that's also like to your point, or rather to the geniuses over at South Park, of like, that is like, people are constantly thinking of like content, and like to some extent,
endless
I get it.
Content forever, some might call it.
Great film, Frank, check that out. But I think that like it does, I feel bad a little bit for kids in a way, because it's like, we're adults. It's like, okay, we got to think about our livelihoods and stuff like that, and what we want to make into a job. At the end of the day, it's a job. But kids are also thinking of like how, like you said, their brand, and like what do they want to how do they want to, talk about certain things. Obviously, maybe not in the same extent that, you or I or Grant might do it, but like, I feel like it takes away a sense of like innocence from childhood in a way,
Yeah, no, I think the time I enjoyed video games the most, I mean, I guess I enjoy video games the most now, but like when I had like in my 20s, I worked as a movie theater manager. And so like I would be at this job for 8 hours, but the whole time I'd be like checking my pocket for Twitter or reading message boards on NeoGAF. And like as soon as I get home or I'd have 2 days off, I would power through like a God of War game and just be like, okay, this is all I want to do. And it was nice to have that separation. And but again, that's why I like prioritize like mental health. And I think that's why I like having multiple projects or jobs. So it's like, okay, like there's like the no clip brain, there's the Twitch brain, and then there's like the self-care brain, or like, and it's like, okay, like I can kind of like pull myself out, reset. Yeah, it's smart. It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's, I don't know. I think it's like positive anxiety, like where it's like pushes me out of bed, where it's like, fuck, I got a lot of shit to do. And again, I've gotten so good at managing time and balance, because it's such a hard thing to balance. And it's like, I would have not been able to do it at this capacity. The older I get, the better I get at managing it all without worrying about it. Like if I was 20 years old, I'm freaking out, like how the fuck am I doing any of this? But I don't know. I feel like the secret also is not to worry. Like, again, we went through COVID. Even last year, I went through like a lot of shit, and I survived. I'm still alive. So I'm like, you know what? Now I feel like I have nothing to lose, and I feel pretty happy.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. And I also feel like one thing I want to say too about like also turning something into a job. It's also like you said, maybe the time you have for these hobbies and things, like as you get older, you have less time for them. And there's a part of me where I'm like, well, if I turn it into a job, then I always get to do that stuff, because it's like you get a job, maybe you have a family, this or that. And it's like the time you have, like you mentioned, to like zone out and play God of War is, like you said, a very 20-year-old experience. You have your job at the movie theater, you have your game you want to play at home. But the older you get, the harder it is to like justify that kind of. So if you're like, oh, I'm making money from this, or this is like, I'm doing something with this, it feels a lot more like, okay, this is good for me. This is good for society somehow, I guess.
Yeah, you playing video games is great for the kids. And no, I'm kidding.
I've tricked myself into believing it, Grant.
I mean, I think that there's, something to it, but I think that no, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I will say the thing that makes Twitch worth it is the community aspect of it. Like I even like the shit we've been talking about tonight, and I love you, Grant and Kevin. This has been like this is awesome. This is really cool. Going
so far so good, Frank.
It's great. No, Brian and I have that attitude on our Twitch streams where we are combating that cynicism and just like, no, tell us what you like. Oh, you like this? Let's watch a music video of this. Like my friend introduced me to Ice Spice like 4 months ago, and my instinct was like, oh, this is fucking cool. Like, yes, and now Ice Spice is fucking everywhere. Well, she was everywhere 4 months ago, but like, I don't know, like I am so eager to see what the new thing is, and we throw ourselves into it unabashedly. Like, this is cool. And I think like we have even trained people. I feel like working at Mega 64, they made their brand off of that like sardonic, like something awful irony, which is great, but it's like I feel like that got really stale of like being immediately dismissive and cynical. And it's like, that fucking sucks. I don't want to have that tone anymore. So when we started Big Dogs, it was very, again, Neo Sincerity. It was like, hey, this is awesome. We're not going to make fun of you. Tell me what you like. And like, I feel like the first people to admit they like something are the coolest fucking people in the world. And it's like, so I love streaming something, whatever fucking game it is. Like, I've been obsessed playing GoldenEye, and it's like, cool. Then like, I don't know, you kind of attract the people that have that same mindset, but it's like, I love
totally.
streaming because I can throw on a game. People can ask us questions. We can throw up links. And like, I think with Twitch streaming, the game is like 20% of the show. It's so fucking irrelevant. It's just a vibe. It's hanging out. So it's like, there is a relevant where it's like, oh, playing video games is good for the children. It's fun just having that safe space to like hang out, shoot the shit, and be silly. And I think it's also like extremely fun escape. And again, there is that boundary, that line to like make sure you're not doing it all the time.
Yes.
But no, I like it. And again, that's why I feel lucky to like do what I do and have any like tiny anthill of a platform to like share stuff or connect people. I think is really special.
That's all that like fucking life is anyway. You know, when people are like, we need less influencers and more like people working in marketing. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
What
yeah.
is that? Like, you know, that's not to diminish. Like, we all have jobs, and I think most people
I don't
hate. Well, aside from Kevin, most of us have to work for a living, and nobody wants to do it anymore, but we still have to. And it is just like there's that like book by David Graeber that's like bullshit jobs, and it's just like, I don't know, how many jobs do we actually need to do? Like, probably not most of them. It's probably a very small percentage, but we do it because that's what you have to do. But there also, there is that aspect where it's like, if you have to do it, if you have to work, and if you have to create capital so that we put the capital through the system and we have an economic system based upon that, you might as well do some things that you like more so than things that you don't like.
Preach.
You know?
For real.
Yeah.
I also want to say, Frank, speaking of things we like, because you know what, that's something like, you know, we Grant and I have sort of wrestled with on this show, is because a lot of it is inherently complaining, and I think that we basically for 5.5
to try and make it funny.
Yeah, we may have some goofs and laughs along the way, but you know, after 5.5 years of doing the show, we actually started season 2. So right now we're on season 2. Season 1, again, very long. Wait.
This is, I think, 6 years of, I'm looking at my watch right now, because wasn't the first episode like around Super Bowl time?
It was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because we had a Super Bowl, so it's somewhere is 6th anniversary. We've
been doing this season 2 for like almost half a year now, I want to say.
God,
but
that's crazy. I feel like we just started.
You know, getting more like conversational, just kind of like shooting the shit. Yeah. You know, anything from the old format we get to. If we don't, we don't. Last week we talked about fucking Pikmin for like 2 hours. Didn't even touch Elon Musk. And you know what? I don't care.
I do have a fun Elon Musk story.
Oh, and of course we'll get to it. We have to get to it. But I also wanted to ask you, Frank, like, because I know I DM'd you a little bit about this before the show, but I know you put up like a video where you went to an anime con. Which is like, you know, I used to do that kind of stuff too. I think it was last episode I mentioned I used to do like public access stuff for a little bit from my local town's like public access station, where they were like, here's a camera, here's some mics, shoot whatever you want, as long as you can bleep out the swear words and we can play it on TV, you know? And I wish I used it more than I did. But I did like the same thing of like, I love going to anime conventions and just sort of like capturing the ambiance of it, because that was such a massive part of like my adolescence and my formative years, was like going to cons with like all of my best friends, getting a hotel room and just being there for 3 days where shit is happening day and night constantly, and just having the best, like it was like something we looked forward to all year. So I wanted to capture that in those videos of, and this is like, you know, the ones I did are like, you know, 8 or 9 years old at this point, but
that means it's even better.
Yeah, I mean,
you should throw those
like
online.
What it was like to be at a convention and like just, you know, kind of like shooting the shit with your friends in the hotel room and then going to the con floor. And some costumes are good, some costumes are also not so good, but that's the experience, you know, and just seeing all the merchandise and the figurines and everything. And I know that seems to be something you've kind of like narrowed in on a little bit, because I did see some of your streams. You were also like, you said it used to be better, or at least at that point it was, but like you were going back and looking at old con photos from like the mid 2000s, right?
Yep. Yeah, no, that is something I think over the pandemic, we legitimately missed going to conventions. And so there was one night I don't know what, like, I think I read a book on YouTube, and this is a legit great life hack, is if you search any term on YouTube and then type before, is it like semicolon, the 2 dots, 2010 or whatever. Like, so you can type in like Anime Expo, or get even weirder, like Anime Boston before 2009. It will exclusively show you slideshows from, like Anime Boston 2008, Anime Boston 2006. Like, you're able to then like siphon or like zero in on like an ancient version of YouTube where no video is in high definition. There is none of this, like, this is like pre-internet's like sense of humor. It's like there's no irony. It's so sincere. There's no memes. There's no bullshit. It is like we ended up just looking at anime conventions from every single state before the year 2010, and we'll still find new ones, but it's like you'll see 50% of videos use caramel dancing, and it's kids with like yaoi paddles. Everyone is cosplaying as like Naruto, Bleach, One Piece. There's like only 6 anime that exist before 2010. Like, and it's so fucking miraculous. It's also before anime was in Hot Topic. It's before people could order cosplays off AliExpress. So it is like the purest, rawest, like shyest form of expression, and it's so beautiful. All the cameras are blurry. It's like everyone's bare feet. It's so fucking like crusty, but like it is so again, like these all look like liminal spaces because all these conventions aren't huge, so they're in like a Holiday Inn. Yeah,
I love that, and like it's so different from nowadays because now it's like a Zoomer TikTok video of like rate my Demon Slayer drip,
Yeah, kids are very like self-aware, and that's cool. There's no shame, but it's like there's something so special of like seeing anime conventions from like an ancient. It feels like we're on Star Trek, and it's like, oh, look at these ancient like aliens like celebrating the art of anime, and it's like, but it's also nostalgic like for when I was in high school and seeing kids in Naruto headbands do the Naruto run across campus, and it's like,
or in front of Trump Tower, some might.
Yeah, which we filmed a little video there because I remember getting into like Naruto around like maybe like 2004 2005. Like before it like really blew up. And I remember when it did blow up, I'm like, I can guarantee the next con I go to, everybody's going to have a fucking headband. And lo and behold, it was like everywhere,
Yeah.
It reminds me of, there's this tweet that I tweeted today to promote my own Twitter.
Let's hear it.
So the Susan
Wojcicki?
Waluigi stepped down as the CEO. And was replaced by, I guess, this guy, Neil Mohan, I think is the guy's name. He's the new CEO of YouTube. Did I say Google? Did I say anything?
I think you said YouTube.
Of YouTube. And the new boss of YouTube is literally the guy who came up with the idea of NFT integration. He's an all-around crypto metaverse Web3 shill. And I had a good quote retweet that has 0 likes. Oh, that's good. And I said, if Lotax was still alive, he should have been the CEO of Google. Erroneously, it's YouTube. That's the type of people we need in charge of the internet, not this fucker. And
I kind of agree.
I also kind of agree. I kind of disagree. But there's part of it where
then
it's
why
just
did you
like,
say
This isn't because whatever. You can just go online. You can say anything you want. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But there's part of me that's just like, this stuff like disgusts me. This crypto shit, this NFT integration shit. And it's like, this isn't what the internet is about. It was about you buy a Naruto headband from a strange, Chinese website. You can't even like read the words on it, and you get your Sony Handycam and you take a video and you put up a video of your fucking disgusting crusty feet as you're standing in a ball pit in the middle of Schaumburg.
Was this you, Grant?
No, this was DashCon I was making fun of.
Oh, DashCon.
Yeah.
There is
a little more recent than that.
There is something to be said about the internet before, like, everyone had a cell phone and everyone was online, where, the internet inherently was nerdy. It was started by fucking dorks in universities to,
exactly.
Bunch of pencil pushers, yeah.
Yeah.
Now
And
it's
like,
a bunch of hedge fund managers. It sucks. I hate it.
But that's the fun of it, of just like still standing our ground as fucking internet nerds and being disruptive. That's why TikTok I love, because TikTok is so chaotic, and it feels like TikTok is like coming full circle to what the internet used to be, which was teenagers on message boards being fucking toxic, and I'm all for it. Like, honestly, like, yeah, like I think it's very funny, and so like people, that's what I like about TikTok, is people do not understand it, but kids get it, and it's like and that's how I like when the internet is like that. Again, like, internet's a utility, everyone should have access to it. It's great. But there was a beautiful drill tweet. There was a beautiful drill tweet yesterday or 2 nights ago where Drill said, like, it was very like out of character because it was so sincere. It was like, I love how this place, half of everyone thinks it's open a mic night and the other half thinks it's a permanent funeral. And that like cut it down straight. It was like, yeah, that's like like half of Twitter is people posting nonsense and the other half is like, oh my God, there's a fucking oil spill in Ohio, whatever. I mean, that sucks, but it's like, I just want to fucking talk about ham taro here. I don't give a like, but I think like that's what I love about the internet. So like going on Twitch and playing Slipknot AMVs and looking at anime conventions, it's like, this is my happy space. I'm not here to fucking like, I don't know. Like I think that's what I like about the internet. Yeah.
I'm right there with you, man, at this point. Yeah.
I'm not there with you, and I'll make my point. I don't know. It's weird because it is like there's all this new shit, and it's all sort of bombarding people's ability to sort of like grapple with all of it. And again, I think it's maybe like a little bit of an evolution. You know, maybe we need like a third ear, perhaps, a 33rd tooth. You know, 4 eyes instead of, and I'm not talking glasses. I'm talking, 4 eyeballs. Because it is like,
oh, okay. I was confused. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. Yeah,
for sure.
Because there is an aspect to, like, when I'm scrolling on TikTok, there is like a lot of educational content out there too. Yeah, and I think that there's a lot that can be plugged into, and I'm sure that, you know, again, like working with kids and seeing like what they know and how they interact with things and stuff like that. It's like I'm learning stuff on TikTok that like I never would have learned in school and stuff like that. And it brings you down weird avenues of like, you know, there's so many different aspects of like American history and like Black American history and like Native American history and stuff like that, that it's like, I was never exposed to this.
Yeah.
And you get exposed to it and you go, oh, like these are maybe the books that I should be reading. These are the things I should be reading. And it gets you to like a point of like more engagement that maybe you wouldn't have reached on your own because you're not like exposed to people in the same way. And when you have this phone in your hand that you're just constantly shuffling through things, and it's like, hey, here's a person that like is different than you talking about their experiences. It's like, God damn it. We're over here talking about sincerity, Kevin. I know, sincere.
But we got to have a little bit of lighthearted humor. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's what this podcast is. We sprinkle it all in.
No, that's the magic of the show. You talk about stuff like that, and I'll put a little Ritz in there for a second. Then you continue talking. I'll toss a little more Ritz, and then you make your point.
Right. So
Don't let me stop you.
The point. Well, sometimes I just get caught up in the interplay. Is that a word?
I believe so.
All right. So, you know, I feel like that there's like such like an important utility, but at the same time, it is overwhelming at times. And that's where people go, well, why would I take this vaccine when I don't really understand science? And this guy sounds smart, so I'm going to listen to him. Not this fucking nerd that's talking down to me that's an epidemiologist that's actually giving me the facts and figures. Shut up, loser.
I feel like kids should want to take needles. Like, just go for it.
Yeah.
Well, Grant,
steroids, heroin.
I agree with what you're saying, though, Grant, but there's also the other side of the coin where all the people who get like radicalized on like the alt-right pipeline from this kind of stuff, where they would probably never have seen it.
Well, that's the thing. That's the inherent contradiction.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, you know, it's very much so traveling in two directions faster than, like, I didn't think that we would have Nazis, and now we got those again. Not that they really ever went away, but like we have them, and they're like louder than usual. But we also have like, people that are the opposite of Nazis, and they're also out there. And it's like, well, I guess that it's a good thing that we're, getting the antithesis of that also. But I don't know if we're just like barreling towards certain demise, James Cameron, aforementioned.
I think to Frank's point, though, like it's all about balance, though, like you can, go on a deep dive down the Hamtaro wiki, and you can also spend some time being informed about what's happening in the world around you, But I think that like all of one or the other can potentially be detrimental because like there's so many people.
That's why Thought Cops is the best podcast, because we do it all.
We're pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, we're great. It's like Buddha said, everything in moderation, including moderation.
Well, actually, what? To bring up,
I like that.
Bring up Thought Cops. I want to bring up an old segment of the show, 2 Minutes of Hate, because I actually do have one this episode.
All right, go off, King.
I got Saul Goodman'd this week. Has this ever happened to you guys?
You idiot! You got owned.
I got Saul Goodman'd, and I don't know what that means.
You got faced, man. I have no idea.
Does that mean you got conned or you got defended?
Even more obscene.
Did you get the wide picture of him? Is that what you got?
Yes, I had a hard drive article come out the other day, and it was like rumor grandma's amiibos worth a ton or something like that. And it was a picture of like the Precious Moments figurines.
Yeah,
the headline,
it's good.
The headline goes up the other day, and I, sometimes I'll check at the replies or the quote retweets to this to see people who are like, "This is the funniest thing I've said I've seen all week," and I'm like, "Hell yeah, man!" And then I go to the replies, and it's nothing but like the Bob Odenkirk headshot from like Breaking Bad, where it's like 3D moving around his face.
Yeah.
Have you seen this, Frank? It's just like this image of like Bob Odenkirk making this dour expression, and like they made a 3D image of it, and the camera's like zooming in and out, but it's a gif of that. And I'm like looking at the responses, and I'm like, it's like nothing but that. And then somebody else posted another gif of like Saul Goodman adjusting his tie, and I'm like, did I do something wrong? Am I missing something here?
I have no idea.
I think in my head, well, like the last season of Saul Goodman is they conned this old lady out of a fuckload of money. So it's like, maybe that's just like, oh, I smell a good scheme. I don't know.
Yeah, but there's also amongst Gen Z, there's a lot of people that haven't seen Breaking Bad but think that it's hilarious, and they just keep posting memes about it. And I think Saul sort of gets wrapped up in that a little, where it's just 100%. Like, we're going to play the theme song over some irrelevant video or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's the whole TikTok thing where every meme is an offshoot of an offshoot of an offshoot of an offshoot, where like it's so absurd, but ultimately like I don't know. I feel like if you don't care about it, it doesn't give you any power. So that's where I'm just like, whatever. Hey, thank you for engaging with the tweet. That's why I like every single reply I get on Twitter. It's like, yeah, you engage with me. Thanks. I'll give everything a like. So
more people are seeing it, but then I start to wonder to myself, like, what does it mean? Because I know it's sort of like this absurdist nothing humor, but the fact that like so many people were responding with this, like the only thing I could think of, I had a couple theories. One was like, okay, so there is an episode of in like Better Call Saul season 1 where he's he's like talking to these elderly women about, like Frank said, conning them out of money. But there is like remember the Alpine Shepherd boy? Like she had those like expensive little like ceramic figurines.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, maybe that's what this is, but it didn't feel like it was like specific enough a reference. So my other thought was like, they think my joke is corny, and they're posting like the Saul faces is supposed to be like this whole like you got the whole squad laughing kind of thing. And I'm like,
there is a whole squad of them because everyone's just doing the same image.
Right. I'm like, that's smart. Like that's worse than somebody saying this sucks. Just this Bob Odenkirk face. Saying it everybody's just posting the same gif of Bob Odenkirk. And
I take it a compliment. Bob. Hey, Bob Odenkirk's a Chicago native. Bob Odenkirk did sketch writing. Bob Odenkirk wrote for Late Night. You're following Bob Odenkirk's steps. So I think that's like a blessing. Like, hey, this kid's the next Odenkirk. I take it as a compliment. Also, Bob Odenkirk's memoir, he talks about growing up in Chicago. So
yeah, I read it.
It's
great book. No, I'm a massive fan. I mean, like to be quite honest, like actually he is a big reason. Like I majored in the same thing he went to college for, like at one of the same colleges he went to. I did like Second City writing afterwards, and I'm just like,
I'm
like I'm like, this guy's got to figure it out. So actually, you know what, Frank?
Yeah.
You put a positive spin on this.
Yeah.
These guys were just validating me. They're just like, we see you. You're going to be...
It's all going back to the source. Yeah, they're drawing the distinction.
Yeah, you and Grant are going to make the next Mr. Show. Just wait for it, Keep doing what you're doing.
I don't want to be David Cross.
That's fair.
I'm going to make my own guy. You
know what? I like David. I didn't mean to be smart showing. I'll be like, yeah, fuck David Cross.
Yeah, no, I like
hilarious.
David Cross too. I just don't want to be him.
That's fine. You could be you and I'll be me.
Mr. TV, we can call it. How's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's clever enough and ironic enough to be a throwback, but it's sort of its own thing too.
I've been thinking about like a little more. I haven't thought out this thought fully. So nobody take it too seriously, but I have been considering like, if we were to do more outside content that isn't just Thought Cops, what would we call it?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like I do, like I think both of us are like, branching out to things besides like just this, obviously.
Right. It only took 6 years, but we're working on it.
Patrol is associated with cops of just going out in the streets. So I see something with patrol. I don't know. I think
even to get away from that, even just to
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind that because it's like you tell someone, Thought Cops, and like I think it's not as much of an issue anymore. But like back in the day when there was,
we're further away from the Gamergate era where people are taking that type of thing seriously.
I associate cops now with like Blue Lives Matter. So then it's like,
another not good thing. Yeah.
Also,
yeah. Well, it's like, but then it's like the edginess factor. You don't want to associate those people, but I always like the whole thing of just like mistakenly associating yourself with something horrific, but being the complete opposite. Like, I don't know, that in itself already sounds like that's literally like a Mr. Show ass sketch. Like,
well, yeah, I think that's almost sort of the problem that we run into because the whole thing was sort of like I think like to a certain extent like a meta commentary on the amount of people saying like, what the thought police? So what are the thought police coming? 1984? How Orwellian? And it's just like, yeah, let's just do let's do a thing making fun of the fact that people keep doing it, and then they kept doing it more. And then it's like, how come our show isn't catching on more? Huh? How come our downloads aren't?
It's all their fault. Yes, it's all their fault. No, I think like, I don't care what it's called, but like just doing something else is also fun, like.
Well, it'd be cool.
Hey,
start doing like
start making TikToks. Just start fucking around and filming TikToks.
I mean, Grant is big on TikTok.
Kevin's blue pilled on the TikTok, but
to be fair,
I'm talking.
I made one single TikTok video recently, and it was like this random idea I had for a video.
It did well,
and I was like, okay, yeah,
it did good.
So like I can see an appeal to it because like I don't know, I just like making stuff and putting stuff out there because it's not just like clout chasing. It's like there's a sense of like connection, and also like I don't know, you just want to obviously some level of like validation too. But
I feel like you get more reactions on TikTok than you do on Twitter. I have a funny thing about how low tax should be the CEO of YouTube. Nobody likes it. If I go on TikTok right now and say, you guys remember low tax? He should be the CEO of YouTube. I'll get like 400 likes.
Nobody's gonna know who that is on TikTok.
People know who it is.
The nice thing about TikTok is the algorithm does force your content on strangers, whereas Twitter, it's just in your followers feed.
Right.
Like, and then if people engage with it, maybe, but I don't fucking look at the For You page. Whereas TikTok's appeal is seeing random shit. And the way TikTok's algorithm works is when you make a piece of content, it will push it in front of like a X amount of people. And if if it has stickiness, then it pushes it more and more. And if people swipe immediately, it dies. So the more you engage with it, grows. But it's like TikTok algorithm works. Like if something really clicks, it will fucking show up. So I think it's very healthy. And that's why you see TikTokers like will make the same video 10 different times just trying to like make it stick, or they'll iterate the same meme or format over and over. But again,
although sometimes that kind of sucks because then I'll be following a person like pretty intently and I'll see the same video and I'll go, I don't care to keep listening to you. Thank you. Goodbye.
And that's why you got to block these people. Around. Get them out of here.
Yeah. Just be ruthless on TikTok.
No, speaking of engagement, though, let's bring back a classic, and by classic, I mean we've done it twice, segment on the show called Weird Comments. We have one this week, Grant. You want to pull that up?
Yeah, so just to preface it, so we've been doing clips, we've been making little TikToks, little reels, little shorts, you know, and we've been just getting the weirdest reactions to some of them, because a lot of times there's no context for what we're talking about. Like, the context is we do like a 1.5 hour show every week, and then we'll just like clip in the middle of like a thought, just like, hey, this was kind of funny.
Well, I'll leave like I'll like title them like what it was, but obviously nobody looks at that, so
yeah. And then it'll just be, you know, so the one that we put up that is now for this segment is the Jerry Seinfeld thing, and I had begun the thought process, as I always do, with the horse in front of the cart, so that I can explain to people, hey, like, check out what's in this cart. Here's the horse, but like there's a cart behind it, right? As I do. And we were talking about the Seinfeld photo shoot and how weird it was, because it's not enough just to be like, hey, that's weird, that's funny. You have to explain why it's weird and why it's funny and why there's like this weird.
Have you seen this, Frank?
Reaction to
No.
It was like a few months ago. Jerry Seinfeld was like all decked out in like Gucci or something like that.
Streetwear.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And there's like a certain je ne sais quoi to it, and you're like, why is this so funny? Because it's like there's this somberness, and he's pulling it off, but this is also Jerry Seinfeld, and so he's not trying to be funny, but we're all laughing at it, and we don't know why.
Stop laughing.
And so and as we all know, stop laughing. And so I started in the video where we clipped it at the beginning. I say, this is the funniest man in America, and he's wearing these clothes, and he's like giving this like blue steel look, and it's just a weird juxtaposition, and this is why everyone's like so fascinated by it. Like, and so the comment that we get is someone says, Jerry Seinfeld is definitely not the funniest man in America. And it's just like,
oh, yeah.
What do you care? What?
Yeah.
Swipe left, sir. Swipe away. Whatever direction you're swiping in, swipe in the opposite direction. Get out of here.
I love this stuff because, and like, I really like Instagram reels, YouTube reels. Like, I don't know if anybody's like watching who found us because of those. And if you are, leave a comment below. Like, let us know.
There's got to be some. I mean, we're almost at 700
curious.
subscribers on YouTube, and that number has jumped pretty quickly within like the past month.
Yeah,
so it's got to be.
I think that, like, you know, these platforms for like the shorts, like the TikTok, Instagram reels, YouTube, it's like putting it out for like you said, like not just people who follow us, but to random whatever.
Yeah,
it's nice to see that people engage with our stuff, even if it's negative. You know, they're just watching it to be like, oh, I hate these two cornballs.
Yeah, I feel like you're the sucker, like whether or not you like it or not. Like if you don't like something, like just didn't close out of it. So if you're engaged with it, like it's like that's why I'm always like, thank you. I appreciate any comment. Like I think like people should be way more commanding of their own time, and like I don't know. I just that's why I never understood people who leave negative comments. Like just I don't. It's so weird. But I like the idea of them saying Jerry Seinfeld's not the funniest person, whatever, because it's like you're missing the message of that post.
Right.
So like,
and it's like not even that long of a clip, and that's the one thing that you decided to jump on. And that, to be
what
fair,
about my no cap joke? Come on, guys. Hey now.
Yeah, exactly. To be fair, though, I mean, that's if you scroll on TikTok enough and you like go to people's comments and stuff like that, someone will like misspeak or something like that, and every single comment is like, Tuesday.
I do like TikToks because you'll find a lame video, but then it's like, okay, sometimes the comments are pretty good, but I don't know. You gotta be careful, because if you stay on a lame ass video, TikTok will think you like it, and then that's why you don't take the bait. Don't comment on videos you don't like, because the algorithm will think you like it. So you just got to move on.
Well, speaking of bait, I have another new segment that I would like to introduce to the show. And until this is a work in progress, until I can think of a better name for it, this segment is called TikTok Bait Questions.
Sure.
News to me. I want to see where this goes.
It's good. So, Frank, you say you're scrolling TikTok a lot, and
yes,
do you see podcasts pop up, like people in a room with microphones doing sort of this thing
on TikTok Live, or like like clips.
No, not on like curated like clips.
Yeah,
curated podcast clips.
Yeah, because I follow a lot of like comedians, so I'll see like comedians share their shit or guests. They'll guest on it, but I'll see shit like that. Yeah.
I guess not necessarily comedians, but like just random podcasts you would never listen to, and podcasts you've never heard of with people you've never seen. Do you ever like come across those?
I have once. I ran into like 3 girls being like, "Hi, we're the something broads." Haha. I'm like, "How this exists?"
Right. Exactly. So the something broads. That's a good example.
Yeah.
The one thing that you notice about all of those, the one thing that they have in common is that you listen to what they're talking about and the way that they're talking about it, and all of this stuff is the one thing that they all have in common is that nobody listens to these shows. Like, we have a modest viewership, listenership. We got a couple hundred people, couple hundred dedicated people. They listen to our episodes, but you see some of these videos that people take and they get like millions of views, millions of likes, and you're just like, you're reading off of Reddit. Like I can scroll Reddit and find the exact question. You're doing like, am I the asshole? And you're just reading that out loud. And there's a couple other people in the room with you. And it's like, you didn't even create this content. And like,
so they're not like adding anything to the conversation. Like
they're adding nothing. They're adding time to my life that brings me closer to the grave is what they're adding. So my TikTok bait question for today is, what would you guys rather fight? 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck?
Didn't somebody leave us a voicemail like this?
Oh, probably.
And then like you made fun of them or something?
Yeah, it's a stupid question.
Yeah. I don't know. It is a stupid question. I don't even want to fucking answer it. But I would
want to befriend them. I would befriend them all. The 100 things and the one big thing. I'd befriend them all.
You'd befriend them all.
Yeah, I'd be like, "Yo, what's up?" And then I'd feed them bread. That's how I get them to win. I'd be like, "Here's some bread."
Do horses?
And then I'd film
bread?
it as a TikTok. You know, yeah. I don't know. I guess.
I mean, they can eat bread. They can eat anything. They'll eat shit off the ground. But
I want to be the old guy at the park, like feeding the horse-sized duck bread.
Well, it's not feeding them.
Well, I don't want to fight them. I don't want to fight them.
Well, you have to. That's the option. That's the Reddit thing. That's we all asked Neil deGrasse Tyson that question. Now we're all asking you that question, Kevin. Who would you rather fight?
I guess I would rather fight the horse-sized duck.
You're fighting the horse-sized duck? Jesus Christ, man.
That's my answer.
That's it. Imagine if there was a podcast where we just did that the whole time.
And that's the clip we're going to use.
Nobody would listen to that. Yeah.
That's the clip we're going to use. Well, interesting segment, Grant. I'll give you that.
Thank you. There will be more. It's not going to get better.
Grant, you got something on the dock here. It says elongate. What does that mean?
It's when you stretch your foreskin.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. It makes it look bigger.
I didn't even realize that, but elongate. When you
Elongate, like Elon Musk?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I didn't realize that made the word elongate, but that is. So if something actually does happen with Elon, a large breach of information, you would call it elongate.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you're bringing this up, Grant, because I know you had a little problem on Twitter this week.
Oh, my God. I finally... I've been enlightened to Kevin's position regarding blocking. Just as a little bit of a spoiler, a little bit of a treat. Did y'all watch the stupid bowl, as I call it?
No, I didn't see it.
Frank, did you watch the Super Bowl?
No, I watched the Mario Brothers commercial. I think that was it.
So there was a Super Bowl this week. Some teams played sports ball. The millionaires bashed their heads into each other and got CTE.
That actually sounds kind of awesome when you put it that way.
That's the selling point, I think. And one person that was in attendance was Mr. Elon Musk, the overlord of Twitter.
That is so awesome.
He tweeted out, I don't actually know what he says. I don't have the tweet here, but he tweeted, "Happy Super Bowl, everybody. Go team." And he didn't get very many likes. He thought this'll do him. They're going to love this. Happy Super Bowl.
So let me get this straight. They invite him to the Super Bowl and he makes some glib comment about it?
I can't remember. No, I'm being facetious, but he did do something that was like.
I thought you said. I thought that was the exact wording. He was like,
"No, he didn't
go
exactly."
Sports. I love go team, go local team. You know, whatever people say.
He did like, go Eagles or whatever, and then he like deleted it or whatever, and then I think
that's the one he deleted.
Yeah, he deletes a lot of tweets. But at the same time, Joe Brandon also tweeted about the Super Bowl, and a tweet from the president who has 37 million followers. Joe Brandon only has 37 million followers.
Wow.
Generated 29 million impressions.
Let's gas this. Come on, guys.
A similar tweet from Musk, who has 128 million followers. Sounds like he bought them. Generated little more than 9.1 million impressions. That's not good. The guy bought the site. He paid $200 trillion for it. And he only got
want to have more
9
impressions
million impressions. Yeah. So,
hey, Elon Musk, here's an impression for you. Smoking! You can have that for free.
He called the engineers in to work for a last minute meeting. He was like, everybody, he like picked up the big red phone, you know, and he was like, everybody,
the city of Townsville phone.
Yeah, Avengers assemble, he said. And so all of the 3 people that still work at Twitter all woke up and ran to work. And he was like, fix this. Not enough people are seeing my tweets. Not enough people like me. I want to be at the top of everyone's news feed. And the monkey paw curled. And the next day, everyone woke up to this image. Let me see if I can throw this in like the chat or something, if there's a chat on here. But this image of, y'all know like the meme of like,
oh god,
I don't know if this is from like a porn or from what, but it's like the woman feeding the other woman milk, and she's like holding her ponytail.
Oh, okay.
She's like feeding her milk. And everyone woke up and saw this tweet, and it says the milk feeder girl. It says Elon's tweets, and the girl who's drinking the milk with the ponytail, it says Twitter.
That is creepy. I don't know any other word to describe it besides creepy.
It got 166.9 million views. So
okay,
it worked.
Some like E-Bombs World ass shit. Like that sucks.
Yeah, for real.
Like straight off of fucking like Facebook. You know, it's Facebook.
It's Reddit. I don't even know about that. It's like
Reddit tier fucking humor. It's have a down dude. Elon.
This is some rotten.com kind of stuff.
It's bad. I think I see a 9gag
he forgot to remove
logo in the corner. He forgot to remove the 9gag watermark.
He's got the black and yellow eye funny down there. Bro.
The one that Zwick adds to all his posts on purpose.
He goes and puts them on there manually.
And everyone, myself included, was like, no, fuck this. I can't do it anymore. And we all blocked him. Now he has no followers because everyone's blocking him. So, Kevin, we all owe you an apology because you were correct.
That's right.
We were all afraid of the difference in opinion. But at the end of the day, the opinion was the fucking iFunny watermark.
Well, keep in mind, he might post a picture of you and call you a coward, though. Just be aware that could happen.
You know what? If it gets me more followers, go for it.
So the problem is, though, Grant, you're still seeing his tweets, though, from what I understand.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like the server needs to catch up or whatever, but like as soon as I blocked him, I was like, the tweet was still popping up, and I was like, make it stop, make it stop. I was the guy at the end of the White Christmas episode of
Black Mirror, John Hamm.
Black Mirror, who was like smashing the radio, and I turn around and the radio's still on, and I smash the radio, and I turn around and the fucking tweet is still there, and I smash the tweet, and I turn around and the Elon tweet is still there, and I can't get rid of it.
That's what I was like, it's got to be a legacy block. You had to block him before he bought the site.
Maybe. I don't know if it's still happening or not, but it was weird.
Very strange.
It was like an episode of freaking Black Mirror.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
Yeah. Positively Orwellian. So that's it. That's the news for today.
This is like freaking 1984. That being said, let's listen to some listener voicemails. 312-788-7361 or send us an audio file to thoughtcopspodcast@gmail.com. We got... Oh, there we go. Thought we lost you for a second.
Me?
I thought I lost myself. No, my Zoom just disappeared when you did that. I thought my...
Oh.
Anyway.
For a minute there, you lost yourself. Just like Tom York.
Just for a minute.
Here we go.
Hello, Kevin and Grant. You have caught me in traffic, so I thought I'd take this opportunity to call in.
Hello.
First off, thanks a lot for the compliments on my voice. They are like crack to me and a great way to ensure that I will keep calling in. So keep doing that if you want me to keep doing that.
Okay.
Also,
sound great, man.
I saw your Resident Evil 4 video. Great stuff. A little disappointing in that it did not piss me off at all as promised, but instead I agreed with pretty much everything you said. But now you're not doing your video rant Sona. I just want to know, why is Resident Evil 4 the best game of all time? What is your expert opinion on what makes it the greatest game of all time? As we know, it is. All right. Call me back.
Don't call him back this time. This is how we got in this problem in the first place.
He almost had me for a second there. But so Frank, is this a video you did, Resident Evil 4?
I streamed it. Resident Evil 4 is very good, though. For its time, it introduced third-person over-the-shoulder shooting. It would have been in other games, but I like the permanent progression of it. It's fun to shoot the zombies. It's way more action-oriented. It's very satisfying to suplex zombies, to kick them, to pick up gold.
Oh, they're not zombies. They're
oh yeah,
they're
clickers. They're Spanish people. I don't know what they call them. I forget.
Spaniards.
But Spaniards. Yeah, no, it's I don't know. It's very, very good. It's not my favorite Resident Evil, but I understand the mainstream appeal of it. But it is so satisfying just upgrading your weapons and that shit. Like, I love it.
What's your favorite version? GameCube, Wii, PS4?
Well, I played it. Well, there's going to be a remake of it like next month. But in Resident Evil 4, I played it most recently. There's a 4K PC mod of it that's really, really good. But it'll be... It's going to be weird because the remake's going to like overwrite it. But even then, like, I don't know. It's still good. But my favorite Resident Evil is still... Fuck, Resident Evil 2 might take it now because of that remake. But Resident Evil 1... Yeah. Yeah, like the Resident Evil 1 GameCube remake, but I still love the cheesiness of the PS1 Resident Evil.
For some reason, like I could not. I tried to get into the first Resident Evil so many times, and I couldn't wrap my head around the fucking inventory system. Even in the new version,
where it's so fun,
where it's supposed to be simplified, I still couldn't wrap my head around it.
Yeah, I've never played any of these games. Maybe I should.
Yeah,
I don't like. I don't like being scared. So I don't like...
Yeah, we learned that last week.
So Resident Evil 4 is good because it's like the least survival... But like the Resident Evil 4 is more of an action movie than survival horror. Like it's so over the top silly. And again, just jump in fresh next month when the remake comes out.
Sure. I want to get Metroid Prime too because I haven't...
It's so good.
I never played that. So it's a lot of stuff that I missed out on. Here's the next voicemail.
This is for your ICP clown, Frank Howley, who's going to be on the show. First off, I want to claim that I'm the first smoker and will ever be the first smoker. And secondly, Molly Moon is my girl, and that's about it. Also, go check out Frank Howley on TikTok. Bye.
Wow. Wow.
I'll follow you right now.
Wow. Holy shit. we ran into on YouTube. There's a kid named Juggalo Ryder who his username is Smoker the Joker, and he made this diss track saying that he was the first smoker, which I debate because I think I'm the first smoker, but so I don't know. It's up for debate who the first smoker is, but I'm taking that title. And Molly Moon, if you're on the fence about TikTok, I
actually showed Kevin this video.
Oh yeah,
and he said, "Oh, this is good, but the rest of it's garbage." But,
I know who this is. Yeah, she's funny.
Yeah, Molly Moon's the best. She also has a $5 all-you-can-eat OnlyFans, which is the best deal in the history of the website. Most OnlyFans,
all you can eat. What do you mean?
All you can eat. There's no paywall. So a lot of times on OnlyFans, if you subscribe to a model, you it's basically just signing up for a newsletter because you still have to pay for individual content. A lot of times OnlyFans will have like photos or small videos, but like the juicy shit, like hardcore sex scenes or whatever the fuck, it's like pay $10 to unlock or pay $20 to unlock. Molly Moon, it's $5 a month. You get it all. So it's like
she has that kind of stuff on there.
Yes, she has boy girl scenes. She's the best. She's the best. I love Molly Moon. I mean,
and her comedy's pretty good too.
yeah. No, her TikTok's great. I'm serious. I support her. It's like subscribing to a Patreon or something. But yeah, check out Molly Moon. You won't be disappointed.
Frank, do you consider yourself to be a juggalo?
Yeah, unabashedly so. I like it for, yeah.
Do you feel like that like started ironically? Like because I've seen you like don the face paint and everything. Was it like a haha? These guys are silly.
No, I feel like we kind of like originally when I discovered ICP fandom online, people were so aggressively defensive for being into ICP. Which is like, who cares? Like, instead became so funny to like explore the fan base. And then I actually met people who were juggalos, and like, I actually like, I don't know when the flick turned, but it's like, I think I realized that that even Insane Clown Posse didn't take themselves seriously. And once you recognize that, it's like, oh, this is fucking awesome. And then, yeah, it was even before a pandemic, but like, I went off the deep end and like read their books. I went through all the music. I saw them live. It's like I fully was like, no, I get it now. And then because I recognized that they got into hip hop because they were wrestling fans, and like they approach hip hop from the same point of view as like a wrestler. Like ICP is their gimmick. They make themselves appear bigger than they are, harder than they are. They hype themselves up like wrestlers. They shoot promos like wrestlers. Like it is so fucking cool and sick. And they have done wrestling in WCW and WWE. They're so fucking funny. Their social media game is on point. Like ICP is like they don't make good music now, but their original 90s shit is actually pretty good. Great Malenko is really good. Riddlebox is good.
I love the name.
Jekyll. Oh, it's so good. The Jekyll Brothers is good. The Wraith, Shangri-La is good. So there's actually, it's like the Aquabats, but basically, but
that's a very interesting comparison. Yeah, our editor is a juggalo, so I'm sure he'll listen back to this and. He's in the chat. He's in the chat right now. Zwick, are you there? You can unmute yourself.
No, Zwick, we don't want to hear you.
I'm going to hear if he has anything to say about juggalos.
Yeah, Zwick, enlighten us.
Quickly, what do you think of the movie Big Money Hustlers? And do you think they should review it on Fire Bros?
So I tried to watch Big Money Rustlers, which was the cowboy western, and I just couldn't get into it. But
I've seen that
watch
one.
The original.
That one is garbage. Okay. I will stand by
it. Okay, so then
arbiter of taste, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, good to know. So I will need to watch Big Money Hustlers because I accidentally started with Rustlers and I was like, oh, this sucks ass. But okay, I'll check out Hustlers. But if even Big Money Hustlers was made during their peak, whereas Rustlers came out way later after they kind of lost that edge. So I think Hustlers would be sick. I mean, I've seen the scene that's like, I'm in an ape suit, motherfucker. I don't give a shit, or I don't give a fuck. Like that's good.
Yeah, so he wants us to like review it for like our Patreon show. And again, I
give it a shot.
I've seen the cowboy one. I watched it with a friend in college who also was a juggalo. Can't say I cared for it, but apparently it's bad. But you know what?
It sucks.
I'm not a juggalo. I don't find that stuff interesting personally. But like, if you guys say the other movie's good, though, I mean, hell, I might check it out. I'm willing to be proven wrong.
I've heard that comparison made before. Like I don't know how widespread it is, but the the link between like wrestling and hip hop, and how it's like a little bit of like the worlds are a little bit intertwined. Like in wrestling, there's certain up and coming rappers will be baby faces, and then you have people that go heel, and that there's this whole like intermingling of the worlds that's sort of like either, I don't know if it's spoken or unspoken, or if it just like borrows from it or whatever.
Even Rick Rubin, who coached the Beastie Boys, he was a hardcore wrestling fan, and they would do promos like the Beastie Boys are the hardest fucking crew in New York. Like, being a rapper, you have to be your own hype man. You have to fucking like be a gimmick, live the gimmick, like all of that. It's absolutely the same. Like, yeah, and even with feuding,
we should make promos for Thought Cops like that.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I was just thinking about.
That's it. Yeah,
I was just thinking about how I'd be very bad at that.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
But that's it. Just be you 10,000%. Like, it'd be the same thing if Bob Odenkirk had to make a TikTok to promote Mr. Show. It's like, I'm Bob, and we have a show on HBO. I mean, if you watch their fucking HBO promos, it's so fucking funny. It's, hey, we're Mr. Show. We come on after Real Sick. So after you get busy masturbating, come watch our show. It's like, they're so fucking funny, but it's the same shit. It's the same shit.
Yeah, we I feel like a lot of people like pull a lot from like the wrestling scene in terms of like just being a showman or like a showboat, you know, or at least like playing a character, playing it up a lot. So, I mean, like to some extent, it's like I've said like on this show, I play a quote unquote character, which is just a slightly dumber version of myself in real life.
I play the dumb guy that sometimes goes back around to having maybe a cogent thought. And then people are like, how did you come up with that? And I go, I don't know what you're talking about.
Always the enigma. Anyway, if that inspired you, give us a call, 312-788-7361, or send us an audio file to thoughtcopspodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to support the show, get a backlog of bonus content, and be a part of the episode in our live recording chats, head on over to patreon.com/thoughtcops. I want to give a shout out to one of our older patrons this week, Jim from Drink a Beer and Play a Game, who's been a patron since August of 2020. So thank you, Jim.
Wow.
Also been on the show a few times. So thank you.
Thank you.
Frank, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was a pleasure talking to you finally, at last.
Yeah, dude. No, thank you guys. I apologize. I felt like I hit like a caffeine crash the second half of the show, but
no, it was cool. I started talking about Elon Musk, and I think everybody stopped listening. But
no, honestly, the duck shit turned me off so much. I know that's a bit, but like I hate that shit.
It worked.
Yeah.
It worked so much. I know
it wasn't, bro.
Like, I get the idea, so it's like it's not. I get that, like I get it, but it just is like I can never.
Oh yeah, it's awful.
That shit.
I'm going to keep doing it. I love creating walls.
No, I think like
it's a good
not
thing
like the Donald Trump walls, but like
Yeah, I cannot wait for more of those each and every week, Grant.
I'm just going to reddit.com and just reading the first post.
And that's why I hate Reddit. The Ask Reddit shit. It's so I hate it's. Yeah, no, I get it. It makes me puke.
I mean, just like TikTok, there's good like wormholes of Reddit where, you know, it's like, oh, this could be useful, you know, r/home improvement. And I'm not talking the Tim Allen one, like the ones where it's like, here's how to actually fix a leaky faucet. And you're like, this is I would never find this anywhere.
Yeah. No, that's why I like Explain Like I'm 5 or No Stupid Questions. Like there actually is good stuff, but Ask Reddit. Let me see if I just look at the top. I'm trying to find another lame ass, like, I don't know. It's all like a bunch of 14-year-olds that are like, guys, what's something that you think is attractive about a woman? And it's no, the top question is, boys, be honest. What do you not tell girls about sex? It's like these are all people who've never had sex.
Yeah, exactly.
This question.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Speaking of the internet, though, I'm just gonna say before we sign off, Frank, if you can tell people where they can find you on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, all that good stuff.
Yeah, no, Frank Howley. Just search it on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, whatever the fuck. No, feel free to pop if you even listen to this episode. And if you're already even connected to my networks, feel free to pop into a Twitch stream and say listen to it. I will be glad to blast this link to everything. But no, I feel like I make myself like the most accessible person online. People are always welcome to come to the Twitch chat, ask me anything. People are welcome to DM me. Brian and I have our own Big Dogs Discord. discord.gg/bigdog69 is the magic portal to get in. But no, I don't know. Like, I'm very accessible. I'm very online. I'm very open. So I don't know. But I am having fun with TikTok as like kind of it's like doing New Game Plus. It's so funny, like starting fresh on a new platform where you kind of don't have a following, and being so carefree with it is pretty nice. But yeah, I'm everywhere. And then support NoClip. NoClip, we also have a Patreon. We're working on so many projects. I'll be at PAX East in next month, March. So I don't know. It's cool. And then yeah, Kevin, Grant, if you guys are in SoCal, let me know. I'd be happy to meet up or show you guys cool shit. And then I do want to go to Chicago. Likewise. So that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been out there, so I'm overdue.
Yes.
Anyway, guys, thank you for listening, and we will see you on the other side.